collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Naruto and Transformers collaborative set of Kurama and Gamakichi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing those correctly. Now, I don't know if anyone's like me, but when I see Kurama, the first thing I think of is Yu Yu Hakusho. And I'll be honest, I don't really know anything about Naruto. I've never watched it, but these guys look totally rad. So we have Kurama and Gamakichi. And when we spin around to the back, you can see the product shots. And it's just this cool little frog dude and this really awesome looking multi-tailed fox. So again, I don't really know anything about Naruto, but I just thought these guys looked really, really sweet. So I'm excited for these guys. They look like they're a little basic in terms of transformation, but I'm fine with that. And I really like the packaging as well. It's kind of made to look like a scroll, which I think is really neat. You can see up top here, you kind of have like the pages, or really just the scroll wound up and then kind of pulled open, and then you have these two guys here. I love the little frog with that thing in his mouth. I just think that's so cool. I assume that's the scroll that he keeps in his mouth. But yeah, really, really cool packaging over here. I think this is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and get these two guys out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. So here we have Kurama and Gamakichi out of the packaging. As you can see, they both primarily have like an orange and gunmetal gray color scheme, although a little bit lighter orange over here for Kurama, a little bit darker over here for Gamakichi, and definitely a lot more gray going on with this guy. You can probably tell pretty quickly by looking at him, but Kurama is based off of the Kingdom Cheetor mold, so that mold has definitely gotten its use, but it's okay. I think they did a pretty decent job. I'm going to take Gamakichi, put him off to the side for a second, so we can take a close-up look at this guy. I think he looks pretty good. I think the head sculpt is nice. Definitely has a little bit of Cheetor vibes to it, but you can see he's got the Naruto headband there, which I really like. It's a little difficult to kind of see the eyes. They are blue, but they have a lot of gray underneath them, so it's kind of hard to see the actual blue, but it is there. The white for the face is pretty nice. A little bit of red there on top. Head is on a ball joint. As you can see, it's there kind of at the base, back and base of the skull. Can tilt back pretty far. Can spin side to side, no problem. Can't really tilt side to side all that much, but looks pretty good. You can see the head of the fox here, which we'll see more in the beast mode, but I love the eyes on that. Really like lasered in, crazy red eyes. The paint for the mouth is nice. Again, we'll see that a little bit later on. And then you have the giant ears here. Now you can kind of see that these are like a separate piece that's been connected. And I do worry about them because they, I don't know, they just feel a little large and like easy to catch on something while you're transforming. And I'm really afraid that they'll eventually break off because they feel not flimsy, but definitely like a little bit lighter plastic. And I don't know, I worry about the connection there. We'll see how it holds up. But you can see right away, like the shoulder pad piece here, the shoulders, a lot of that is Cheetor. You have those flaps on the side, the waist here, that is hinged, so you can move the legs if you need to. But you do have like the bandages here on the leg, which look really cool. I like this hand they've done with the two fingers for like the ninja poses and the moves and everything like that. I think that's actually really cool. And then over here on this hand, it has a hinge, which has a connection spot right here so you can attach the accessories, which we'll get into in a minute. Now the back has a lot of kibble going on. So you have, like Cheetor normally had the two cheetah legs that you could kind of cross. And this has this section here with the giant fox tail. So I believe he's supposed to be 9-tailed because each section here has 3. The directions have you hanging this down. I gotta be honest, I kind of like to pop this up a little bit. And then you can spin these around on the ball joints. If I can get this going here. And kind of tuck all of this up. And I just think it works a little better and gets stuff out of the way. And then you can kind of bring this all up here and bring this up. And then it just kind of frees them up. It also makes them a little bit less like back heavy. And I know that seems ridiculous. But because you have so much on the bottom here, it was kind of pulling them down. Whereas now I can kind of get him to, maybe he has to pitch a little bit forward, but he just kind of stands a little better with that, a little bit more centered. It's still a lot of kibble, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of kibble. But being able to kind of put it up all in the back, I just think works a little better personally. If you like it down, flowing, you know, you can certainly achieve that. No issues there. I just personally like that better. But anyway, getting back to articulation, so you have a swivel to the front in the shoulder as well as out to the side. You have a bicep swivel. You have your elbow bend. You have a wrist swivel. We talked about how this hand can open like this for the connector piece there. You have a waist swivel like so, but again, you're going to run into some issues with the kibble because these arms back here. Now you can swing these up as well if you'd like to get them out of the way, and then you'd get a little bit more out of the waist. But we'll come back to that a little bit more later on. You have your hinge and rotation here in the legs, and again, you can move this up if you'd like him to kick a little bit further forward. Kick pretty decently out to the side. Joints on mine are a little stiff, but I guess that's good. Thigh swivel there, knee bend, and then you do have pretty good ankle tilt, pretty much 90 degrees there. I don't love the legs just kind of hanging out here. You do have a hinge here, which you can utilize to kind of tuck them up however you like. I feel like Cheetor's kind of integrated better. I can't remember exactly how they worked because it's been a minute, but these are just kind of out here on display. It's not a huge problem, but I just feel like that could have been done a little better. Again, you have the bandages here on the side, a little bit more gunmetal gray, which does look pretty sharp. You got the kind of clawed toes here for the feet, and those are also very caked in that gunmetal gray. You can see the gloss on them because of how much paint is on there, because everything is just the same orange, and then they painted over top of it. But overall, I think he looks pretty cool. I like the head sculpt. I think ultimately it's a pretty successful robot mode, but with it just being Cheetor, I feel like maybe somebody would have worked better. I don't know. Nothing jumps off the top of my head, but it's pretty successful. Let's get to the accessories. He's got a lot. So you have some effect pieces here, kind of this cool like wind shuriken thing here going on. So how this works, and this kind of confused me at first. So you have kind of a normal circle like effect piece port here, but you can see that the piece here on the inside of the palm is square, and that kind of threw me for a moment. But if you look at this, you can see that there is a little spot right there, kind of above the circle, and this is supposed to peg in there. So if we bring this in and peg this in there, then he can kind of hold it in his palm like that. He also has kind of a smaller blue like burst of energy with the same kind of connection there. So if we peg that in there, kind of look like he's shooting the little blue ball of energy. And the reason they still have these, I will point out in a moment, but it's actually kind of neat. He also has these two weapons. And the way this works is you can see that there is a slot here, and that is to peg into this. So the same place we pegged in the other two connector spots. I want to move this up a little bit. So peg that in, and then you can close up the hand. And it can be a little difficult to get it past the thumb, but you can do it. And then it holds up pretty snugly. This one you just kind of drop into the hand because he does have a closed hand for the bottom of it there. So you can do that. Now while he's holding those, you can bring these up, and then that's why these have those circle ports, because then you can just peg these in here if you like. So you can have the two like robot hands holding the weapons, and then you can have the two fox hands. If I can peg these in. There we go. And I thought that was kind of cool because they swing up pretty easily. So you can have the two fox hands doing those like beam attacks or ninja attacks, and then have, you know, the robot hands holding the two weapons. So I thought that was kind of neat. So that's why you have the ability to connect either to that large rectangular tab or just peg into a normal, you know, connection point, the 5mm circle. So yeah, pretty neat. Now he also has these blue effect pieces for the feet. And I don't know if this is like when he's building up his power, that's the energy kind of coming up from the floor, or if he's supposed to be like walking on water. I don't know. Again, I'm not super familiar with the show. If I can get this connected. It's not connecting in the right spot. Is that right? Yeah, maybe that is the right spot and it's just not that great of a connection. Yeah, unfortunately it's just not that strong. But anyway, he just stands in it, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, so that's, I guess, the whole effect. Again, I don't know much about the show, so I don't know why he has these, like, energy pools on his feet. But I'm sure it makes sense. I wonder if one is more connected than the other, because this one seems pretty tight now. I wonder if they're different. They can't be different sizes, though. That wouldn't make any sense. But that one does connect a little better. Yeah, I think unfortunately just this is kind of stretched out on this one, or maybe they didn't paint it enough. I don't know. That one's a real loose connection, though. This one's really snug and the other one's really loose. But I kind of thought that was neat. So you have all those effect pieces going on. And the other cool thing about the weapons, if I remove these from the hand, which I'll have to open this up to do so, you can connect them here to the sides of the leg. And you can just take these really large rectangular pieces on the sides and peg them in to the sides if you would like the weapons to store on the legs, which I think is pretty cool. So there you go. A lot of options. I think that's neat. You have some pretty cool effect pieces. You have some cool weapons. A lot you can do with this guy. Alright, transformation is actually really simple, and if you've transformed Cheetor before, you're probably going to recognize a lot of it. You're going to kind of tilt the head back so that you can clear these collar pieces and swivel it around. You have to kind of tilt it back so that you can clear these pieces right here. But once you have it like that, you will bring these arms down and rotate them at the bicep so that these pieces can kind of connect to this, and you can see that that'll kind of now fits together flush. So then spin this around and do the same. Then you are going to flip open these panels here on the side, like so. And then that will enable you to grab a hold of the head of the animal, the fox, and lift this up. And then you can close the mouth. And then this will tilt over the head and connect into place. If these foxtail pieces are in the way, just move them back. So there we go. Then you can kind of bring this out of the way. But that will allow these whole sections to now fold inward. Like so. And then that will all just clip together down the center here. Like that. And then you just kind of bring the fox front legs around the front. Now, for whatever reason, once these pieces are connected, mine does not like to stay all the way back. It kind of kicks forward, and I don't know what that's about, but it's kind of annoying. But you can see that fox head. That expression is amazing. I mean, the mouth is really nicely painted. All the teeth are white. The tongue is red. All of the black trim. That looks really sharp. I love the crazy eyes. All of this black paint here in the ears really looks sharp. I like that quite a bit. So they did a really nice job with that. The back is very, very simple. You're going to just rotate these sections back, bring these down, and these just kind of go like that. And I kind of wish they hid themselves in there better, but they don't. And then you just kind of bring this around like so. Do the same over here. Rotate that in. Fold this back. And then you're just going to bring this section down. This can be a little snug on mine, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but getting this piece down past the piece it's kind of next to, it's kind of a pain. But there we go. Okay. And then you just position the tails however you like. Bring these down. Spin this around. Something like that. And there you go. We have Kurama in fox mode. And there we go. So the fox mode is okay. I mean, like I said, it's very obviously Cheetor, but in this case, I think it works. Like I said, I absolutely love the head design and all of the detail and paint that went into that. That's really fantastic. The rest of it is just a kind of standard four-legged beast. I mean, there's not really much going on. The tails are cool. I like the tails, the fact that you have the 3 different ball joints. You can kind of move them up and down. There's a hinge here, as well as the ball joint here. This piece can kind of spin around here. As you can see there, it's on a mushroom peg in addition to the ball joint. So you have, you know, a decent amount of movement and posability there with the tail. The rest of it is pretty much Cheetor. So if you have the spin there, you have a spin here, a hinge there as well for the back legs. You have this kind of, you know, ball joint so you can kind of bring it out to the side. You can still spin this around. You have kind of a bicep swivel on the front leg. As you can see there, you have this hinge at the pin, and then you have the ball joint for the front paw. So pretty good amount of articulation. In terms of like the effect pieces and things, I mean, I guess technically, if you wanted to try to connect these, you kind of can. I don't know if this makes sense at all for the show. It probably does not. But you can kind of connect. They do have connections there on the front paws. If you wanted him to, you know, use any of these still, you absolutely could. Something like that. And technically, you could still have these pegged into the side here. If you liked this look, if I can get this to do it, there you go. If you wanted to keep those pegged into the side, you could do that as well. But yeah, overall, not a bad little fox form. Pretty cool. Up next, we have Gamakichi. I really can't tell if this guy is made from a pre-existing mold or not. I kind of don't think so. Although he feels like he could have been a pretty cool little like core class guy. Honestly, like I feel like there's probably someone from Beast Wars or Beast Wars 2nd or Beast Wars Neo that they could have repainted him as. But core class is kind of ending, so that's a shame. But yeah, he's pretty cool. I like the head sculpt. Once again, we have the Naruto headband there. Got the nice kind of fluorescent yellowish kind of paint for the eyes. Again, has that eye makeup. Really nice white paint for the face. I love the little smirk that he has. I think that's pretty great. Head can swivel from side to side. You have a little bit of like front to back, but it's very minimal. Here you have a ball joint at the shoulder. You have a ball joint at the elbow. Wrist and hand and forearm are all one solid piece, so nothing there. Technically, you could flip the frog flipper there if you wanted to. I don't think he has anything in the waist, but he does have hips. There's a little ball joint there, so you can move that around. Ball joint at the knee, and then a ball joint at the ankle. So like I said, very core class feeling with this guy. Just a lot of ball joints for all of the connection spots, but that works. That's fine. He's got these big frog hands here on the back, which just kind of sit there. I kind of like to bring these around and put them up, which you can do if you like. I kind of like that a little bit better. I feel like it gives them a little bit more personality, but it is completely up to you what you'd like to do. He has 2 accessories. He has this little knife, which looks pretty cool, and you can pop into either of the hands, like so. If you have the frog hands up, you can kind of also peg it in here, which is kind of like utilizing the paws from Kurama. You could do something like that if you like. He also has this cool little scroll, which you can pop into either of the hands. Kind of a snug fit, but there you go. And then I believe, once again, you could use this peg on the side here and peg this into, so you could, if you have the feet up, you could peg it in up there as well. So it gives you, again, a couple options, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, he's a fun little guy. Very simple. But, you know, he's got good ball joints. I really like his coloring. And I just think he's a fun little dude. Let's go ahead and get into his transformation. So I'll be honest, transformation's a little weird. Not the hugest fan of it, but you'll see what I mean. So we're going to spin the ball joints around at the elbow, and then just kind of bring the hands up here like this. And then we are going to spin the knees at the ball joints and bring the feet straight down like that. Then you are going to kind of push down on this to get this to flip open. Now the directions tell you to spin the head all the way around. It doesn't really matter. You don't need to. But this is going to swivel around. But you don't want to close it all the way up first. Not right yet. So then you can see this kind of panel here has like a mushroom type peg here. And so you're going to bring this down. And this it's at kind of a weird angle. And then that's going to sit back there. So that goes down and sits like that. And that's fine. I like that part of it. It's this joint here. So you have this, like the front frog leg is kind of attached to this like circular portion. And you kind of have to, you can see the little tab there and there's kind of a notch. And you kind of have to put that on there and then kind of use that to spin this around, which I'm not a huge fan of. And this is the reason why you don't want to close this all the way, because for whatever reason, this thing can't spin around while it's completely closed. And I don't know why, but so you kind of have to bring this down. So we'll do the same thing over here. Kind of have to find that notch and then spin this around and make sure you clear. Then you should be able to bring this up and close that. And then you just kind of line this back up. So you can see I spun this one a little too far, but you can kind of play with that. And then the cool thing is you take the legs and you can see there's kind of a little spot right here. That's going to come up and tab into there. So you just kind of bring these up and these will store along the chest, or what was the chest of the robot mode. So just kind of tuck those in and then you just accordion up the back legs and then you have your cool little frog buddy. I love the face. Of course, you can open up the mouth. Now you will see the robot head in there, but if you're kind of looking at it straight on, you won't, so it's not a problem. But again, all of the black paint around the mouth, that detail's really nice. I like the eyes. That all looks really sharp. This area is a little bland. I kind of feel like they could have painted a little something back here. But the legs look really good. I like that. And the cool thing is, if you want, like you can have him just kind of be a frog, out how normal frogs are positioned. But if you unhook this and just bring this a little forward, you can kind of have him stand up on his back legs and kind of bring the head a little forward. And then you could have him, you know, fight like that if you want. You can still use the knife. You can put that in his hand. So if you want him to kind of stand up like that, I think that's kind of fun. I like that. I mean, personally, I like the more traditional, you know, frog stance, but I do appreciate that you can do that. I think that's kind of fun. So if we line this back up, you can also store the blade here on the back. And then, of course, as the blade falls off, you can open the mouth, and you have a connection spot right there where we are going to peg in the scroll and then close the mouth. And so he can kind of carry the scroll around in his mouth, which I think is fun. Pop this back in there. There we go. So here is our cool little frog buddy with the scroll in his mouth. Articulation wise, I mean, you have the ball joint here for the front leg. These legs are basically just what the arms used to be. So all that articulation is the same. And then you have to, if you want to utilize the ball joint, obviously you have to take it off of that tab. Once you have it in the tab, it won't move as much. I mean, you can kind of still move it around a little bit, but to get full range of motion, you'd have to take it out. And of course, the opening, closing mouth. So at the end of the day, I like this set quite a bit. I don't really have a strong connection to the source material, and I probably would like it even more if I did, but just judging it straight as a set of Transformers, I think there's a lot to love here about Kurama. I absolutely love the fox head. I think the detail and the paint apps and all of that, just the design, is really, really cool. I do worry a little bit about those fox ears and how well they'll hold up over time. We'll see how that goes. I love the hand pose here for like the ninja moves and everything. I think that's a really great detail. The weapons are cool. All the effect pieces are really good. The 9 tails on the back are kind of neat. I like the head sculpt. I like that they both have the kind of Naruto headbands. I think that's a great attention to detail. The only thing about this guy that bums me out a little bit is that it's just Kingdom Cheetor again. It's a good use of the mold, but I've had enough of that mold, and I was hoping it would be, stay away, and we could have made this guy into somebody else. But like I said, it's a pretty successful use of the mold, so I do appreciate that. But I do admit I have to lean a little bit more toward Gamakichi. I just think frogs are cool. I love this little guy. He's a fun little transformer. The part about the arms having to swivel is a little weird. I feel like that wasn't super necessary. They could have just moved the legs around on the ball joint and that probably would have been fine. But at the end of the day, no harm done. I like his color scheme. I like his head sculpt. His accessories are good. Honestly, both of these are pretty quick little transforms. I think they average between the two of them like maybe 15 steps. So you can really convert them back and forth pretty quickly and easily, which is always nice for a transformer. Yeah, like I said, I really don't have too much negative to say about these. So overall, I would say it's a fun little set. And if you're a big fan of Naruto, this will probably hit home even more so. But yeah, even just as someone who just likes little Transformers, I think it's a pretty fun little set. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.